Mr. Darian, would you lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sunshine Law Statement. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met for this meeting of the Board of Education of the Borough of Oradell. Notice of this meeting was filed with the Record and Town News and all persons requesting such notice. Mrs. Norian, would you read the mission statement?
Yes. The Oradell Public School District is dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of educational excellence through comprehensive, innovative curriculum and instruction. Yes. The mic is on. Turning? Louder? Is that better? Okay. Well, I'll start all over again. The Oradell Public School District is dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of educational excellence through comprehensive, innovative curriculum and instruction. The district is committed to providing opportunities for social, emotional, and academic discovery to foster curiosity, courage, and character. Our goal is to prepare our students to become lifelong learners who are self-directed, resilient, productive, responsible citizens.
Thank you. Roll call.
Gotta hold that down.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco,
Here.
Mr. Darian,
Here.
Mrs. Downey,
Here.
Mrs. Moran,
Here.
Mr. Nutlin,
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here.
Mr. Walsh will not be here. Mrs. Norian,
Here.
Mrs. Nichols.
Here. At this time, I'm going to make a little bit switch in the order of our meeting, and I'm going to do my president's report before I open the floor to the public for agenda items only. I want to apologize for my voice first. I have been sick, and I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to attend this meeting, so we will see how it goes this evening. First point of business, Ms. Tricia Lyons asks that her email be added to the official record. So, Mr. Iapelli, I'm going to give you this. I ask you to add it to our meeting record. I would first like to thank the Oradell PTA, the greatest PTA in the state of New Jersey, for all they do. The oldest, the largest, and the greatest, for all they do for the children at Oradell Public School. The executive board and all the volunteers put in countless hours for the benefit of our students, and the Oradell Board of Education would like to thank you for all your time, effort, and commitment. We greatly appreciate all you do for OPS. When the author visits were first announced by the PTA, parents started to reach out to the board with concerns regarding subject matter. After our last meeting, parents again reached out to the board, with many encouraging the board to approve these visits. As a board, our number one priority is our students. We want all of our students to be able to attend and experience these fun activities. Our students look forward to these assemblies. They are very excited to attend. As I stated at the end of our last meeting, the board was waiting for additional information, which we have now received. As I'm sure you are already aware, the PTA's facility usage resolution has been placed on this evening's agenda. On a different topic, included in some of the emails received by the board were questions regarding policy and building usage. I was hoping our attorney would be able to join us this evening, but unfortunately he had a prior commitment to another district. I'm going to ask him to attend a future meeting where you can hear answers directly from him. We will notify everyone when we know the date. In the meantime, any questions you may have, please email me or the entire board. In closing, I would like to remind everyone that all the board members seated up here with me are volunteers. We live in a small town. We are your friends. We are your neighbors. Are we perfect? No. At times, can we do things better? Yes. But I can attest, every board member is committed to the students at OPS. And every board member dedicates many hours of their time for the sole purpose of making Oradell Public School the best it can be. I want to assure you, the board always has our students' best interest as our #1 priority when making decisions. At this time, I'm going to open the floor for public comment on agenda items only. We are going to start with a 30-minute session. I guess we can say 3 minutes per person to start. If there's a lot of people, we may have to limit it. There'll be a timer. Mr. Darian, are you going to time? I would like you to give each individual 3 minutes and a 30-minute warning. When you come up to the podium, if you could just state your name for the record clearly, and I think there's a form for you to fill out with your information. So whoever would like to start, please come forward.
Hi, my name is Shasta Clinch, and I'm a co-chair on the PTA's Author Presentation Committee. I want to thank the Board of Education for your time, not just for tonight, but for all you do. Volunteer work can be thankless and underappreciated, but it is vital. And I'm sure you do it not just for your children, but also for the benefit of all the children in our community. I thank Mr. Mangle, Amanda Harrison, for all the effort that has gone into bringing authors to our school, as well as the PTA leadership for their support and resources. When I told my children why I was coming here tonight, they didn't understand. But they know that I am an author, and I have written children's books, and they wanted to know if a Board of Education might vote to prevent me from speaking one day. And I told them I don't know. But this is not about me, as much as my stomach is telling me otherwise. This is about our students. In my family, we foster a love of reading, and in my work in the PTA, I have tried to share that love. Like you, I agree with your mission statement. Through the amazing authors who visit this school, I want to foster opportunities for social, emotional, and academic discovery. The process for the author visits begins in early October, and we work hard to bring amazing and talented people to our school. OPS and the PTA have hosted numerous award winners, including last year's Caldecott winner. The Caldecott is one of the highest awards a children's illustrator can get. These presentations are about teaching our children about the other side of books, about their creation and sparking their imaginations and curiosity. And if we're lucky, our kids will feel inspired, perhaps to even be authors or illustrators themselves. If that isn't a way to prepare our students to be self-directed, resilient, productive, responsible citizens, then I no longer know what is. And it makes me sad to think about the future of this program. What will happen if we, as a community, tell our children that authors are not welcome here? Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Rena Budzikowski, and I'm the current president of the Oradell PTA. I have a daughter in 5th grade here at OPS, and I have a freshman at Riverdale High School, a son. Allow me to provide a brief background of how the Oradell PTA services this community. The Oradell PTA has been serving this community longer than any other PTA has served in the state of New Jersey. We have 35 committees led by 97 committee chairs, over 900 members, and hundreds of volunteers who dedicate their time and effort so we can deliver quality programming to our children. The Oradell PTA's mission is to promote elevated engagement, create fun for students and their families, support the school community, and support local business. We provide academic, community building, and fundraising services to the children, family, and community of OPS. Because of our many incredible volunteers, we're able to provide an abundance of programs such as grade level and special area grants, STEAM fair, book clubs, book fair, family mentoring, school supplies, school photos, Fall Fest, Winter Wonderland, Holiday Boutique, coordinating a daily lunch program, memory book, student directory, and much more. Author Visits is part of this quality programming, which the PTA has proudly sponsored for years. Author Visits help promote excitement about reading among the OPS community. It's an amazing opportunity for our kids to meet award-winning authors and illustrators from a variety of backgrounds, to learn about their creative process while fostering the students' love for reading and inspiring them to pursue their own creativity. As mentioned, the PTA has been sponsoring author visits for years. The PTA follows a standard operating procedure when running this program or any other PTA program. As a former internal auditor, I understand the importance of creating and following SOPs in order to run a process successfully, whether it be in business or in a school setting. The author visit SOP describes how the author visits are facilitated by the PTA committee chairs. This involves researching accredited authors, coordinating with faculty, and arranging logistics for the visits. The OPS library staff provides a list of suggested authors that span across the grades. The committee chairs then attend the Glen Rock Book Festival to gather more information about the prospective authors. Sometimes authors who were asked but could not attend in the past are also revisited and added to the list.
30 seconds.
The committee chairs are in constant communication with the OPS library staff. The list of prospective authors is then narrowed down based on author availability and affordability. The final list of authors is then sent to the school administration, committee's board executive link, and the PTA president. This robust process was followed this year and every other year the PTA has sponsored this event. I hope by providing you with some background information on the PTA and highlighting the impact it has in our community, you will understand that our PTA is here to bring quality programming to all our students.
Thank you. And we do have to cut for everyone behind you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Kelly Castro. I'm at 521 Mildred Place. I'm a prior president of the PTA, and I'm just here today to speak about the importance of the collaborative working relationship our PTA has with the school. That relationship, along with significant effort from a large number of engaged volunteers who work in good faith in this situation, as Shasta and Rena mentioned, following their SOP, and working with the school librarian and other school personnel is what allows our PTA to execute at such a high level. Thanks to these dedicated volunteers and that good working relationship, the PTA can provide a wide variety of services, programming, events, and resources, all which enhance the students' education and create fond memories of their OPS years. Not all PTAs are able to do that, since not all enjoy such a good working relationship with their school board and administrators. Situations like this can disengage volunteers and impact that good working relationship, both which are vital to the PTA and our school community. As I tell my kids, there's always a solution. Thankfully, we have a committed community who have shown that they can do amazing things. I know the PTA and the Board of Education can come to a fair, respectful solution. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Parker Sharmak Hossein, and I'm a student at Riverdale High School. I graduated from OPS in 2020. The reason I am here today, as many others are, is due to the vote about author presentations. To make sure that I am fully informed before speaking, I watched the last Board of Ed meeting, where author presentations were brought up in a separate vote. I also read about each author, their books, and their presentations. This confused me, as I couldn't understand why an author talking to students about their book would be an issue when all other activities passed. The only possible reason I could find is the author, Chad Sell, who will be presenting to grades 3 to 4, is gay. His book series, The Cardboard Kingdom, revolves around 16 children who transform cardboard into costumes and go on magical adventures. A concern for many is about the sexuality of one out of the 16 characters. It is never explicitly stated that the character is gay, simply implied. He dresses up in a sorcerer's costumes and has feelings for members of the same sex. This shouldn't be an issue in the first place, but if that is uncomfortable for anyone, A reminder that students are not forced to read the book, but rather listen to the presentation from the author is important. Chad Sell's description of his book is, "When I talk to kids, I explain how I make my work and how every student can use creativity to overcome challenges in their own life and tackle their own incredible creative projects," which is also paired with a drawing demonstration. What is inappropriate about this? If we are banning a book because a boy dresses up in a girl costume, then why, for example, aren't we banning Captain Underpants, a book in the school library where a man dresses up in underwear at a school? Are we concerned that the students will come to school dressed in their underwear? This may seem like mockery, a joke, or funny, but in reality, it exposes the true intention of banning this author from coming: discrimination and censorship. One of the themes that has really stuck out to me in my time at OPS is diversity and inclusion. Everyone has always felt comfortable and safe. Overall, if this author is not allowed to come visit these students, what message will this send? That LGBTQIA students are censored and that they aren't including? This vote is about more than just the author, but about the representation of students and the future. Thank you.
Hey. Good. No?
The applause is taking part of the 30 minutes, so it's wasting time.
Hello, my name is Charlie Tartaglione. For those of you that are unaware, I'm a four-year student at OPS. In my time at OPS, I felt the school had trouble making sure every student felt included. When I heard that many were opposed to Chad Sell coming to OPS based on his sexuality and the fact that a boy in the book wants to dress up as a sorceress, I was shocked. It is clear this is not only about the content in his book, but his sexuality as well. In his book, The Cardboard Kingdom, kids are in an imaginary land, somewhere that they are able to be themselves in a safe and imaginary space. In no way are kids being persuaded to be taught about sexuality. The fact that this even comes up makes me angry. I feel almost as if we were taking a step back in our community by not welcoming all people. I also feel it is offensive to Chad Sell, who knows he would not be welcomed solely based on his sexuality. In my time at OPS, I felt like an outcast because I wasn't like the other boys. Had someone like Chad been a visiting author, maybe I would not have felt so out of place. I endured relentless ridicule about being gay, and having some support would have made a difference for me. I hope that the residents of Oradell and the board make the right decision and decide that sexuality should not dictate a person.
Thank you.
My name is Jace Gamachis, and I am currently a senior at Riverdale High School and a co-president and co-founder of Riverdale's Gay Straight Alliance. I have lived in Oradell for over 10 years and graduated OPS in 2019. I am here for the same reason that many of my peers are here for, over the vote allowing this author to visit. During my time at school here, I vividly remember some of the author visits and how they enhanced my love for reading and my passion about books, and I'm grateful for every single author visit I got the chance to attend. For those of you who have voted against Chad Sell coming to the school, I ask you why. Have you read his books? Have you looked at the program he is planning on presenting? Because I have, and all I see is an author promoting creativity and free expression. Maybe things have changed since I have attended this school. Maybe teaching kids to be creative and to accept others is no longer a concern of yours. Or maybe it's because there's an allusion to queerness in his books. But then I ask, what is wrong with that? Is teaching students to accept others, regardless of how they dress or who they love, no longer a priority at OPS? Is helping queer students realize that there isn't something wrong with them and that there are people out there who look like them and that those people should be celebrated no longer a priority of you guys? I hope that you guys make the correct decision today and allow this author to visit, to spread his messages of creativity and fostering creativity and acceptance in the students at this school. Thank Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here. My name is Maggie Klein, and I'm a proud parent in this school district, and I'm here with my 2 daughters.
I'm Tessa Klein, and I'm currently a junior at Riverdale High School, and I graduated from OPS in 2020.
And I'm Jillian Klein, and I'm currently a 6th grader at OPS in Miss Kennedy's class.
And we love OPS, its teachers, and the community we've built here. And that's why we're here showing support for a multitude of authors and books to be part of this year's authors' visits.
Schools should be a place of learning and open discussion, and for this reason, we trust this board to make decisions that reflect the values of inclusivity and intellectual freedom that our town holds dearly.
As a student at OPS, we've learned about Panther Pride and being kind to one another. I look forward to your making a decision that ensures that all students feel seen, respected, and free to explore their identity and beliefs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Let me get for a little taller person. Thank you for, my name is Lori Graham. I have 2 children at OPS. Like everybody else, I'm super thankful for the PTA, the teachers, the administrators, the staff, and the school. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today to share some concerns that have arisen over the past few weeks. As Ms. Norian stated, the mission of OPS is that we are dedicated to the ongoing pursuit of educational excellence through comprehensive, innovative curriculum and instruction. The district is committed to providing opportunities for social, emotional, and academic discovery to foster curiosity, courage, and character. Instilling these values in our students ensures that we are fostering empathy, understanding, and a sense of belonging within the school community. Inclusion, diversity, and acceptance are some of the core values being taught to our students on a daily basis through OPS Circle or Open Circle. Not only are we teaching our children these values, but we expect them to model these values as part of their school community. As part of the curriculum, the OPS and the PTA have brought in authors to share and discuss their books in age-appropriate ways with our children. As a collective team, the PTA and school leaders have recommended Julie Long, author of The Truth About Dragons, Chad Sell, author of the stupendous Switcheroo series, and New York Times bestselling author Tracy Baptiste to meet with our children. Each of these authors brings their own unique message of hope, courage, and curiosity. Studies show that children are more likely to develop a lifelong love of reading when they engage with books that resonate with them. By incorporating diverse authors into the curriculum, students are provided with a chance to engage with different writing styles, storytelling techniques, and themes. At the last Board of Ed meeting on February 12th, it was suggested to separate the approval of these 3 author visits and then vote on them individually. To the casual observer, it seems that there were other conversations that have occurred regarding one or more of these authors that have not been shared with the public. These actions have created several questions. Number 1, why is any one or all of these authors being separated out from the others? 2, what information was the board waiting on or did they receive to inform their decision to approve or decline each author? And 3, what message do we as a school district want to teach our children about inclusion and acceptance? It's important that all children are exposed to diversity in order to teach them the value of acceptance of people that are different than they are.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I just want to start by thanking the PTA and the board. My name is Kelly LaVecchia, and if you don't know me, you may have seen me before. I'm the mom who every morning at drop-off guides her 3rd grade son up to OPS while he has a book in hand. Ms. Bozios, I think we bumped into you a couple times. I'm sorry about that. Every morning, he's immersed in his graphic novels. They're one of his biggest passions. He went to a graphic novel camp over the summer, so it's no surprise I first learned about the upcoming author event from my son. He spent the last month coming up with questions he wants to ask the author. When did he start? How long does it take him to draw them? He can't believe he has the opportunity to ask a graphic novelist these questions. To a 9-year-old, this is a big deal. In all of the discussion around this topic this past week, I think one of the things missing is the joy that this PTA event brings to the kids each year. When I learned that voting to approve the author visits via facilities request would be on the agenda, I wanted to understand why. There hasn't until tonight been clear messaging from the board. After research, I would gladly welcome my son to attend and learn about the creation of graphic novels and learn about stories of inclusivity. Oradell and OPS often highlight the importance of community, which is why I think so many people choose to live here. A community is made stronger by differing opinions, and I believe all OPS parents should have the right to make individual choices for their children. Parents regularly make different choices about what activities their child participates in during the school day. I've been asked to approve or deny various activities regularly. It's always my choice. Whether it's a PG movie related to their reading, a field trip, we always have options. I respect anyone who wants to opt out of this event, as I hope they'll respect my choice to opt in, because I truly see the value in it. The thing is, if you vote yes, parents should have an option or an alternative to opt out. But if you vote no, that means the board makes a decision for every single parent. Taking away my ability to choose, and I think that's what brought so many people out tonight. Taking away my ability to choose without a clear reason or transparency is concerning. Voting no implies alignment with one group of parents over another, which I believe may contradict the BOE's Code of Ethics to represent all. I know being on the board is a significant unpaid commitment, and I really do appreciate your time. But if the board's time is precious, it's important to focus on existing concerns from the community and not create new ones. In a recent poll in the Oradell Advocates Facebook group, the need for transparency, class sizes, safety, and special education are just a few of the top priorities from over the 170 responses.
30 seconds.
As far as tonight, I'm hopeful your minds aren't made up and that you'll listen openly to all the opinions being expressed. While it may seem small, you are setting the tone if you represent one set of voices of Oradell parents or all of them. I believe in the Oradell community, different opinions and all, and I hope that tonight you make a decision to represent all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, God, I'm gonna have to move this down. Is nobody else as short as me? Okay. Hi, my name is Lisa Tartaglione. I have 3 children who graduated from OPS. I have to tell you, I'm floored and quite frankly disgusted that the issue of even voting down a visit from Chad Sell is even being considered. If the issue here is that he's gay or that the character in the book, a boy who wants to dress up as a sorceress, then we really need to take a step back and understand the message OPS and our community wants to be put out there for everyone. Do you really think this author and character in a book is going to put ideas in these kids' heads? People do not choose to be gay or transgender or non-binary or any part of the LGBTQ plus community. It is not a choice. It is who they are, and they should be accepted for that. I raised my kids to be accepting of everyone, and let me repeat this, everyone. You may not understand how someone is, but guess what? You don't have to understand it to be accepting of them. You just have to accept people for who they are. No one should be ridiculed or left out or not allowed to visit a grade school because of who they are. The fact that there can be such narrow-minded people in this community and school who feel a gay author and a male character in a book wanting to dress up as a sorceress, shame on you for even thinking this is a problem. My son was a gay boy at OPS, and I can tell you he was ridiculed from the time, please hear me, from the time he was here up until high school. He knew when he was here that he was different. He may not have known exactly why, but he knew. Wouldn't it have been nice to have a visit from anyone he may have felt he understood? Imagine how that may have changed things for him. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Maggie Harrer. I'm here to give you a slightly different perspective. My daughter graduated from OPS 23 years ago, and she's now an opera singer, and she and her husband are traveling all over the world singing opera. One of her favorite things while she was at OPS were the author gatherings and being able to invite one of her favorite authors to come to speak to her friends at OPS is a memory she's never forgotten. I'm an honors literature graduate from Brown University. I am professionally a director, producer, and writer, and I've been appalled at the increase in discussion of book banning. One of the things Mr. Rogers said in his speech to the government when they were trying to take money away from Sesame Street and from the neighborhood, was that we owe our children honesty. And one of the things I learned by being an 18-year Girl Scout leader of girls from Oradell was that they know far more than we think they do. And I remember a particular camping trip when they were 11, and I used to sleep in the tent with them so they were safe because we were out in the woods, but I would pretend to go to sleep so they would feel safe to talk to each other. And I never betrayed those discussions. But one time, they were talking about doing it. These are fifth graders, and I was frankly stunned because I was surprised that at that level they were already talking about it. 23 years later, maybe it's earlier. At any rate, I listened to what they were saying and what their questions were, and I wrote a letter to all of my parents, not revealing the girls or that I'd heard them talking about it, but simply saying, this is a discussion at Oradell Public School that is going around. And if you haven't had that conversation with your girls yet, maybe now's the time, because you don't want them to learn it from 4th, 5th, and 6th graders at the school. And interestingly enough, one of the parents wrote to me and said, well, my daughter's not interested at all, and we will have that talk when she's ready. Ironically, that little girl was asking more questions than anybody else in the troop. I didn't say anything. I didn't contradict her mother. I just said a prayer and said, please be moved to talk to her soon, because she's very curious. I guess what I really want to say is that was 24 years ago, and I would say by now kids are probably learning with the internet far more than my daughter learned when she was at OPS. But if you think they don't know everything about sexuality and gay people and LGBTQ, you're missing the boat here. And what books do is it gives you a learning opportunity to discuss with them your own values. Thank you for listening. I hope you keep it open at OPS.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a long last name. My name is Jim Lesserstone. I live at 524 Birch Tree Lane. I suspect I have a longer relationship with this school than anybody in this room. I graduated from this school in 1967. My mother was on the school board at a time when very few women were on the school board in the 1970s. I sent my children here in the 1990s. My wife was on the school board also in the 1990s. And my grandson will start here a year from September. So I have a lot at stake here. And the parents have done a wonderful job tonight, but this is about a lot more than the parents, even more than the students. And in fact, it's about our entire community and what kind of a community we want to live in, and what kind of message we want to send to our children, our neighbors, and to people outside of Oradell about what our values are. And I think it's interesting that so many people have referred to the mission of the school that Catherine read at the beginning of the meeting. Those things tend to be pretty empty words in most people's eyes. You put those together because you're forced to by a consultant, or you have to because of a state regulation, and once they're done, you don't think about them very much. But this one has some good words in it. I mean, I like to think that my experience at Oradell Public School turned me into a person with curiosity, courage, and character. Those are great words. I like to think that I'm self-directed, resilient, productive, and responsible. And because of that, I have to conclude, based on reading the Family Student Handbook before I came here tonight, that you really have no choice but to approve this program. You've got a non-discrimination affirmative action policy, which states that no pupil enrolled in the district shall be shall be excluded from participation in, denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination in any educational program or activity of this district based on race, color, creed, religion, sex, affectional or sexual orientation, national origin, place of residence in the district. I like that one. That was a new one to me.
30 seconds.
Social, I'll finish when I'm finished. Social or economic condition or non-applicable disability. The superintendent acts as the affirmative action officer and may be reached at a phone number. Now, I understand that the superintendent has recommended this program. The policy I just read makes it clear that the programs that the school sponsors are supposed to
I'm sorry, we do have to
encourage
cut,
children.
we do have to cut your
No,
time.
let me finish my sentence, please.
You can finish one sentence.
Thank you. It'll be a very long sentence.
No, one sentence, because there's somebody behind you, and we did set the qualifiers before we started.
I understand
So
that.
they're the same for everyone. We want everyone to have
Well, I'm
their
going to have to
choice.
think because you've limited me to one sentence. The fact is that what we decide tonight, and I challenge you to make it a unanimous decision, because the message that needs to be sent to the students, to the parents, to the community, to the country right now, and the world, is that Oradell stands for the values that were in that anti-discrimination statement. And the only way that we can do that clearly is by approving this program and learning the correct lessons from it so that we don't have this kind of a controversy again, and that the energies that are going into this meeting tonight can be used to do good things for the children of the town instead of just fighting over it.
I have to cut you.
Hello, my name is Vanessa Hussein. I live at 253 Atlantic Street in Oradell, New Jersey.
Oh, you know what? Press the button to start it again, because I had to cut it.
Oh, I have to do technical assistance too?
work.
My name is Vanessa Hossein. I live at 253 Atlantic Street in Oradell, New Jersey. I was a frequent flyer here at the Board of Ed meetings for many, many years. Dorothy and I go way back. And so, as well as PTA and many other parts of the community that I was involved in and continue to be. I think that our students who are here tonight have done such an amazing job at articulating so many of the reasons why this community and this board need to do the right thing, which is not even to be having this conversation frankly, but since we are, to go ahead and approve this. I do not have anything prepared. This is so deeply from my heart that I really don't have to. So I want to just first acknowledge what an amazing job they did and that they all took time to organize and come out here and speak up for their students. When I moved here about, wow, so long ago now, like 15 years ago, you know, I am a person of color. My husband is a person of color. We alone made up a large portion of the diversity in Oradell, and just our little family. And we did not always have the best experience. It wasn't always the most inclusive community for us. And so, but still, we continued to try to embrace people, to promote diversity. We've done so much in this community. And when I say so much, I mean class parents, my husband and I both. Class parents, we coached, both of us, lacrosse and soccer. I'm a Girl Scout leader, he was a Boy Scout leader. We have volunteered endlessly through the PTA, running the pizza committee, the science fair for years that I co-chaired. And so I have been in many, many aspects of this community and have worked really hard to make it a more inclusive place, to make it a place where people accepted and knew about other cultures, other languages, other experiences. And this is such a hurtful thing that we're talking about now, that we are going back 25 steps in this community if we are considering not allowing this. So I just want to say that this is not about anything other than discrimination and censorship. That's what it comes down to. It does not, whatever other issues you want to bring up or entertain, that is the bottom line. And this board and this community need to decide where we want to land in history, in this community, in this nation, on those issues.
30 seconds.
Thank you. I just urge you to please make the right statement, make this community be one that it can be, that we have worked really, really hard to make it be, and keep us moving forward and make a statement about what Oradell is and where we're going. And I really hope it's in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa.
I didn't finish.
Hello. My name's Jen Abatabalo. I have 2 students here at OPS. I stand before you not only as a concerned parent, but someone who truly believes that education has power. Power to shape our children. The issues surrounding the refusal of the PTA-sponsored author visit raises significant concerns that deserve not only transparency, but dialogue as well. There has been no clarity as to what the particular issue was with the author visits. If there were concerns, there should have been discussed openly with input from both parents and educators. Transparency is not a privilege. It is a responsibility for those who hold positions of power. Decisions that impact our children's education should not be made behind closed doors, especially when they affect opportunities for both learning and growth. All of us should be mindful of the choices we make, particularly when those choices have the potential to send a very powerful message that certain experiences and identities are less valid or worthy, ultimately reinforcing a stigma within our town and worse here at OPS. At the heart of this discussion, however, should be the role of literature in schools. Books serve as both windows that offer children perspectives beyond their own experiences and mirrors to see themselves reflected in these stories. If we want to raise our children to be kind, compassionate, and capable of navigating an increasingly diverse world, we must not shy away from stories that challenge, inspire, and perhaps broaden their understanding. Of course, we do not all have to agree, and we will probably never all agree. But the solution to disagreement is never silence. It is conversation. Schools should be places where difficult conversations happen, where differing opinions are met with discussion. Make no mistake, if we shelter our children from perspectives we personally do not align with, we are not protecting them. Rather, we are failing to prepare them for the world that they are certain to inherit. With that in mind, we must also hold those in positions of power to the highest ethical standards. The decisions made here should be based on what is best for our students and not personal ideologies or outside pressures. When choices are made that limit access to literature, guest speakers, programs that promote inclusion, we must ask whose interests are actually being served. Finally, we must remember that our engagement matters. The education of our children is not just in the hands of the administrators and board members, but the parents as well. We must continue to attend meetings, ask hard questions, and demand accountability. Our children deserve an education that is rich and diverse. I urge the board tonight to reconsider this
30
decision,
seconds.
to engage in open dialogue, and to prioritize the values of inclusion, intellectual curiosity, and ethical leadership. I do appreciate your time, and I'm grateful to our incredible PTA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amy Syracuse.
Amy, a blast from the past. Do you know how many times this woman has yelled at me over the years?
Oh, well,
Welcome.
Dorothy,
I'm
I
glad-
wasn't going to bring that up, but I'm
know.
glad you did.
I'm happy to see you.
So my name is Amy Syracuse. I am a proud parent of 2 OPS graduates. I am actually a former author visit chair for the PTA. And I am here tonight, not because I can really add anything to what has been said already. It's been articulated incredibly powerfully how important and worthwhile this author visit is, and I absolutely support it. But I do want to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room. And I'm glad you brought up, Dorothy, that we are acquainted, because I sat before this board pre-COVID advocating for transparency and broadcasting of Board of Ed meetings. Little prescient, don't want to pat myself on the back, but you're welcome. I'm here, Dorothy and friends, because I think there's a problem with how this was handled. I've read the New Jersey School Board Association's ethical guidelines. I've read the Oradell Public School Board of Education's policies, and I know the role of the elected members of the Board of Ed is not to dictate author visits. Yes, there is absolutely a worthwhile component in the building facilities use paperwork, and that is legitimate, but let's be honest, that's not about content. And I think what has happened here is a little bit unnerving, and it feels like it was done in a way that was meant to be a little invisible. And so Jim Lesterstone has spoken about the importance of learning lessons, and I hope that's the message you walk away from this meeting. You have an outstanding community of parents who care. You have an outstanding superintendent who knows how to do this job, and you should let her and her wonderful staff, who are eminently qualified to educate our children, do their jobs without interference.
Thank you, Amy.
Hi, my name is David Levin, and I live at 640 Blauvelt Drive. I have a daughter in 5th grade at OPS. First of all, what a remarkable town we have. That's the first thing. Every single person here, from the board to the people who spoke, to the people who are listening, have been polite and respectful. We are living in challenging times. We have the news here, and on the news you see towns that are just falling apart or screaming at each other, and that's not what's happening here. So what I'm asking is for that respect to continue. I have a question. It's a very simple question. Why or why not? If you are deciding that this author, and I don't care, it doesn't even matter what the subject matter is, stand your ground, be brave enough to say why you're voting for it or why you're not voting for it. Be honest. If you have a compelling reason why this author should not be here, let us know. Let us know what kind of person you are to make that decision and what motivates you to make that decision. Let every person in this room who has been respectful to you have the respect to understand what, and I'm not going to make an assumption about what your reason is, but what is your reason? Is there a good reason why this particular person should not be allowed to share their experience and their creativity with our children? It's a simple question. If you can't answer it, you have to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who wants to speak on any other agenda items? Any other agenda items that anyone wants to speak about? Okay, so we went about almost 50 minutes, so I'm going to close the session. We thank everyone for coming. We thank you for speaking. Who we really want to thank, though, is our former and our current students who came. We appreciate you coming back. Especially our sixth grader. Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn the floor over to Ms. Bozios for her superintendent's report.
Good evening. I'd like to begin my report tonight by wishing Ms. Sham and our Odyssey of the Mind team good luck as they compete in the regional competition this weekend. I look forward to wearing my maroon and gold and beaming Panther Pride as I cheer them on. Panther Pride has been on my mind a lot recently. We have so much to be proud of in this community. In fact, I've been a wee bit reflective of my time at OPS lately. I recently remembered my second day in the district as assistant principal. The superintendent principal at the time called me to say she decided I would be the conduit between the administration and the PTA. I had a meeting scheduled in an hour with the PTA president. During that meeting, which happened in this very room, that PTA president shared an analogy with me. She said she saw OPS as a stool with 4 legs. One leg was the Board of Education. Another leg was the administration. Another leg was the staff. And the final leg was the parent community, with the PTA at the forefront. When those 4 legs are solid and united, the stool will be strong enough to support all 800 students of OPS. As I was thinking about this OPS stool recently, I realized that in January, we recognized the Board of Education during School Boards Appreciation Month. In the past, I annually post on our social media sites to recognize our principals and assistant principals on their appreciation days. In May, we always join together as a community to recognize the educators of OPS. But what about that 4th leg? What about the Oradell PTA? I did a little research, and it turns out there is a day in September that recognizes PTA volunteers. Well, I missed it. So I'm choosing today to be my own personal PTA Appreciation Day. Over the past 13 years, the Oradell PTA has donated over $300,000 worth of programming and materials to the Oradell Public School District, and more importantly, to the children of OPS. This has included 25 different author visits, educational programming such as the Cashua Marionettes, the history of rock music, Weatherman John Marshall, Prismatic Magic Star Spangled American Laser Show, and numerous anti-bullying assemblies, to highlight a few. They've worked hand in hand with administration, always asking, how can they support district goals? When the district placed interactive projectors in every classroom, it was the PTA who joined that effort and donated $9,000 for the purchase of document cameras to work in conjunction with those projectors. When the district decided to purchase laptops for every teacher, it was the PTA who donated $10,000 worth of Apple TVs, ensuring teachers could seamlessly stream lessons for their students. When the Board of Education proudly took on the task of renovating this auditorium, it was the PTA who donated $50,000 to update the stage lighting and speakers, ensuring a higher quality experience in the newly renovated space. Other donations have included hydroponics gardening materials for the STEAM lab, a Chromebook cart for the library, digital cameras, yoga classes, and robotics equipment to be used for lunchtime programming. From bottle-filling water fountains to 3D printers, the list goes on and on. And I know we have more work coming up. But the schools and district's relationship with the PTA is about more than just money. It is about a partnership that enables dreams to become reality. That dream might be experimenting to find the perfect slime recipe. A Lego board on a wall, 800 white ribbons made to recognize a school-wide day of peace. With one call, whatever the request has been, the PTA has always responded the same way. We'll figure it out. Bring us the dream, we'll make it a reality. Whether running our lunch programs or creating experiences like Fall Fest, the Oradell PTA has always had one goal: to work in conjunction and collaboration with the school for the children of OPS. They have never asked for a thank you, which is likely why I never thought to look for a day to recognize them. Countless articles speak about volunteerism being down around the country. People today are just so busy. There is no time, they say. The one group of individuals who has never said, "We're too busy," is the Oradell PTA. So on my own personal declared PTA Appreciation Day, I would like to thank the PTA volunteers I've worked with, especially recognizing the PTA presidents I've worked personally with, Nancy Shapiro, Jennifer Larson, Jennifer Koth, Kate Booth, Kelly Castro, Nicole Pecoraro, and Rena Butzikowski. The collaborative relationship between Oradell Public School and the Oradell PTA is one of the very reasons each and every one of us should be Panther proud. That concludes my report.
Okay, moving forward. Business Administrator's Report, Mr. Iapelli.
We had our pre-construction meeting on the Oradell HVAC project that will be taking place this summer. The contract has also been sent out to the contractor, so that project is moving forward, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Iapelli. Move to minutes. We have the review of February 12th. If you have any questions or comments, please contact Mr. Iapelli. We need a motion to approve January 22nd.
So moved.
Do I have a second by Mr. Nutlin? Any questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mr. Darian.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Committee reports. Mrs. Norian, would you take administrative?
Sure. I'd like to present item A1.
Do I have a second? Second by Mrs. Walker. Any questions? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mr. Darian.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes, I just would like to say we had a meeting February 19th, and we spoke about the construction updates that Mr. Iapelli mentioned. We also talked about the backfill maintenance and pavers. And with that, I would also like to introduce B1 through B5.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mrs. Norian. Any questions? Call the question.
Facility use item B1, Mr. Darian.
Yes.
Why are you saying B1? It's a consent agenda, B1 through B5. No, that's what he presented. What'd you present?
B1 through B5.
Yeah.
B1 through B5. Mr. Darian.
Yes.
Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Curriculum, Mrs. Norian.
Yes, we have not had a curriculum meeting lately, and I believe we need to set one up. If we could get some dates, possibly.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Okay.
Finance, Mr. Darian.
Yes, I'd like to introduce items D1 through D10. D9 and D10 are new additions, so please pay close attention to some of those figures. That's all I have.
I'll second it.
Mr. Darian, second by Mrs. Norian. Any questions on finance, technology? Call the question.
On the roll, Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mr. Darian.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutlin.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Delegate report, Mr. Walsh is on here. Mrs. Norian, do you know if anything's coming up?
I have not heard, I've been a little.
Okay, yes,
out
you've been a little busy.
This way, so.
Okay, personnel, Mrs. Walker.
Thank you. We have not had a meeting this past 2 weeks, but in light of that, I'd like to present F1.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Del Greco. Do we have any questions? I will ask my standard question. Did the leave go through our attorney?
It did.
Call the question.
Mr. Del Greco.
Yes.
Mr. Darian.
Yes.
Mrs. Downey.
Yes.
Mrs. Moran.
Yes.
Mr. Nutland.
Yes.
Mrs. Walker.
I have a question that I just noticed from my preliminary one. We had on the preliminary one to vote for substitute teachers, 2 substitute teachers. I don't see them on, oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Voted yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Norian.
Yes.
Mrs. Nichols.
Yes. Policy, Mr. Nutland?
We'll be discussing a meeting coming up.
Perfect. Public relations, Mrs. Downey. Anything on the website? Anything else that we have to do?
I don't have anything to report.
Anything to report, Ms. Bozios?
Sorry, actually, the website portion has a solid draft that we can meet. I am waiting still on the app portion. However, I will reach out to Mrs. Downey to set up a meeting so that the board can see that initial draft.
Okay, perfect. It was looking good last time, I thought. Okay, open to the public for any topics. We will limit again to 3 minutes per person. You cannot give your time to another person. So, Mr. Darian, would you time?
Good evening, board members, teachers, and parents. My name is Amanda Harrison, and I've been a resident of this community since 2022. As a parent of 2 students here at OPS, one in the 4th grade and one in the 6th grade, and as a member of the Authors Presentation Committee, I'm compelled to speak out. After listening to the discussions on book selections, I'm disheartened and angry. Within the past 2 weeks, my youngest son was a victim of racist comments. A classmate asked him who the black man who saved America was, and my son responded, Martin Luther King. That student then followed by the reenaction of the assassination of Martin Luther King to my son. Leaving my son traumatized. This isn't an issue for the principal, teachers, or PTA to solve alone.
I'm not gonna stand
This
for
is
you,
a,
okay?
thank you.
You're okay.
This is
You
a
have as
parent.
much time as you want to talk, okay?
Thank you. This is a parenting issue. Teachers are here to educate our children in math, science, reading, writing, and historical events, not to teach manners, respect, or what not to say or do. Yes, they are here as reminders for those actions, but definitely not to teach them. While my son cries at night, fearing for his safety, and my oldest son wishes he could have been in his little brother's place, we're here debating book selections and authors. It's time to redirect our energy towards addressing the real problems: racism, hate speech, and bullying. We need to work together to create a safe and inclusive environment for our children. Mrs. Holly and Mr. Warner have been helping my son feel comfortable and safe as best as they can. I urge you all to do the same. We can all agree to disagree with civility about what books we may want to expose our kids, but one thing we should all be able to agree on is that our school building and this school district should have zero tolerance policy towards racism, bigotry, or threats of violence against any student, no matter their background. You may be wondering why I bring this issue up tonight. After all, I said this was a parenting issue first and foremost, and not a teacher issue. But so much of what happens in our school comes from the work done by our Board of Education members. If bringing this issue up makes parents aware of what's happening in our classrooms, then perhaps I'll be able to get the board's attention so they can help OPS teachers and administrators reinforce that hate has no home in this school district. One last thing I'll close with. Put your child in my son's shoes. Tell me your reaction. Tell me what your reaction would be. Tell me how you would feel about this traumatizing event happening to your child. Thank you.
You got a standing ovation. So first of all, I would like to thank you for the courage to come up and do what you just did. It was extremely brave of you to do this. I am highly disturbed at what you said. I want Ms. Bozios to set up a meeting with you and your husband and Ms. Bozios and myself first to start, just so we can hear what you have to say. You can give us, I know nothing about this, so I want to hear what you have to say, and I'm assuming Ms. Bozios wants to hear. If you want to bring someone else with you, that's fine. And then from there, we will move. But I want you to know you were heard, and I appreciate you coming up, because if parents do not come and tell us things, we will never know. Thank you. So I really appreciate it. Ms. Bozios' office or Ms. Bozios is going to reach out to you at some point. We will set up a meeting. Bring any information, any other people you want to, and we will meet, okay?
Thank you very much.
I really thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
I guess while we're feeling kind of mushy, I'm going to say something. Had I been on my game last meeting, and I wasn't, I will admit it, I should not have let the agenda item go on when we were waiting for information. Unfortunately, this has been blown into something way out of proportion. Your board members up here are not bigots, we're not homophobes, we are not racist. We were literally waiting for information. Had I been on my game, and I apologize for this, and I apologize for the issues I have caused in the community, I would have tabled the motion instead of abstaining. So I apologized for that to all of you. And that's all I can say, but we did get the information, we voted, and I hope everyone leaves here happier tonight. Is there anyone else that would like to say anything? Anyone else want to yell at me? I'll give Amy Syracuse another run. Let's go, Amy. Come on. Oh, I shouldn't have said that they're coming.
I promise we're not here to yell. It's just really to reinforce the message we spoke about last week.
Just make sure the mic is on, yeah.
Katerina Saviano, 150 Oxford Circle.
Vanessa Vega Gonzalez, Woodland Ave.
So again, we want to thank you all for the opportunity to speaking with you guys. We know we've emailed you guys about the crisis management framework. I've had discussions with Mr. Nutland about what I would like to do together, and I think we should really focus on putting together this framework here. This framework should include, but not be limited to, self-reporting mechanisms without judgment. This will allow children to self-report issues that they see within school with no biases. This would ensure that all is taken seriously and handled in a compassionate way, prioritizing the student's emotional well-being. We are of the understanding that there should be severity levels of this crisis management, ranging from low, medium, and high, with a specific criteria for each level. What's critical to this management is the response protocols, clearly outlining the actions to be taken at each severity level, including communication protocols, key personnel roles, and emergency response procedures, training and drills, even for substitute teachers, a planning for training staff conducting regular drills to ensure preparedness for various crisis situations, resource allocation, as well as post-crisis evaluation, methods for evaluating a response to crisis and implementing improvements for future preparedness. Vanessa and I came up with documents that we would like to share with the Board of Education for them to lean on, and hopefully we together as a community can develop a crisis management framework that works for all students of OPS.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marie Antonelli. Both of my children, oh, thank you. Came through OPS, and I'm very grateful that you were all here, and for all the teachers. I don't want to speak. You're like, does anyone want to speak? I totally don't want to speak. But I think that words are really important, and we're talking a lot. Okay. We're talking a lot about some big issues, and I think, you know, some of our words, we're talking a lot about tolerance and acceptance, and these are really important things, but I don't think that those words are enough. You know, I'm an educator. Like I said, my children were lucky enough to come through with so many wonderful educators, and I don't feel like any educator looked at my children and said, you're tolerable. I don't think anyone looked at them and said, you're acceptable. They looked at them and said, you're wonderful. And as an educator, every child, when I get down and look in their face, like I'm trying to project to them, you're wonderful. So I think we have to go further than tolerance and acceptance and just be oriented toward remembering that we're in this elementary school and these are young, young people and they need to be seen as wonderful. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Sheila O'Hare Barrows, and my children have been long out of the school for a while, but thank you for their great education. I just have 3 questions, and I'm not certain if you can answer them, but I'm going to ask anyway.
I will just tell you it's not a question and answer, so
I
we probably
understand.
will not, but we may
That's
get
fine.
back to you. Okay.
Perfect, thank you. First of all, would you be able to share with the community at some point in time the information that you were waiting for before you made your decision? May I ask, or get back to me at some point in time, why was the book that the author was supposed to speak about changed? And finally, you broke the agenda items up on your board as being separated by author. Yes, and then they were voted all together. And I was wondering why that was changed. Again, I don't expect an answer now. I just wanted to...
Shockingly, I can give you some answers.
Okay, no, that's
Usually I
fine.
can't. So the
I'm just
last
going to write
one-
my address down. while
Yes,
we're doing
please,
this.
take your time.
Thank you.
So this evening's agenda, you're wondering why it was B1, B2,
Correct.
B3, supposed
Correct,
to
thank you.
grid.
Correct.
I had actually asked for it to be on there because we could have left it the other way, but I didn't know. I didn't know what board members were going to do. And this way, it's just easier. You don't have, like last time Mr. Jeremy made a motion to pull it out. I just wanted the motions there, so if someone wanted to say yes to all, I pull out B1. I just didn't want to have to make another motion to pull out. There's no
Procedural.
reason other than that.
Okay.
I didn't know how people were voting, so I just wanted to make it easy. The info we were waiting for was basically subject matter because we had heard concerns from many parents in the community. So we had just asked the superintendent again, and we didn't have it. So that's all it was. We got it. There was no issue. And why the book change, I'm going to let Ms. Bozios respond to that because that's not.
The switch to the Stupendous Switcheroo actually had to do with, as I was doing further research into the books, the school library journal aligns the Cardboard Kingdom to grades 4 through 7, and Mr. Sell is speaking to 3rd grade. The Stupendous Switcheroo actually has grade 3 through 5. Not having read all of the books, I lean to the experts in the field, and the school library journal is one of the experts I lean to. So I actually, through the PTA people, asked Mr. Sell, would he be willing to switch for that reason exactly? It had nothing to do, it had to do more with the recommended grade level bands for the books.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your information.
Thank you for coming. Isn't it, Ms. Bozios, isn't it basically true, though, they don't even read from the books because they're having such a good time with the authors? Like, what happens in...
Yes. What I've learned through this is we've never truly articulated what an author visit is. And so people equate that with what happens at a reading at a bookstore, that, you know, the author comes in and they start to read the book. Our authors are not coming in to tell us about their books. Mr. Mangle and our library has already done that. We use this as an opportunity to teach about the writing process, to excite kids that they too can be writers. What's the process a writer uses? If time permits, they may read from the book. You will see that much more often in the primary grades. I've rarely seen authors in the upper grades because the content of the presentation is so rich, and we are talking about 45 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Chiarello. I am a lifer. I moved here at 5 years old. I had 2 children who went through OPS. I, too, went through OPS. I am a Girl Scout leader. I was part of PTA. I did the book clubs. I was a class parent every single year that my kids were here. I am the chairman of the Board of Health for Oradell, and I just want to say I came here expecting to be really angry, and I am so effing proud of every single parent. But even more so, the kids who stood up here, not only do you rock, but you shared your voice, and we are leaving the future to all of you, and I am so proud. Thank you.
Not seeing anyone else, we'll move to old or new business. Any need to go to a closed session? Hopefully not. Oh, hallelujah. All right.
I move to adjourn.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. Come to more of our meetings.